Hare Krishna. Namaskar, Pranam. I welcome all of you once again on the platform of Pavitra on this very holy day of Lodi. So happy Lodi to everybody. It's a similar, like in North, we celebrate Lodi. In West, we celebrate Makar Sankranti. In the South, down South, we celebrate it as Pongal. Basically, welcoming Suryadev in the Northern Hemisphere. Rising of the Suryadev. Suryadev in Srimad Bhagavatam is mentioned that he's an expansion of Lord Vishnu himself. So really grateful for all that Suryadev has given us and is giving us. He purifies us, gives us heat and light, shows us the right path. So let's bow down to him in gratitude. It's always also the harvest season. So it's happy times for the farmers. Of course, at this point of time, there's a lot of controversy going on as far as farmers are concerned. But we wish all the best for them. And because, like they say, if the farmers are happy, the whole country will be happy. So let's welcome a very, very wonderful person, Gaur Vilas Prabhu. He's MBBS from JJ Hospital. From Grant Medical College, he had done it, and he joined the Brahmachari Ashram in 2010. And he's also a faculty member in Bhaktivedanta Academy of Culture and Education at ISKCON Chowpatty. And ISKCON Meera Road, teaching Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhav courses. So studying various scriptures. He's one of the admin members of ISKCON Youth Services at Chowpatty also. And he travels to various places for giving the message of the Bhagavad Gita. And a lot of lectures he's taking and preaching he's doing at JJ and Cooper Medical College. And serves in various departments at Radha Gopinath Mandir. And he's a celebrity, so comes on television and online platforms also. So we're really grateful. He's coming and discussing a very controversial personality called Karna. So we are looking forward to this discussion, which he's going to bring it forward for us. So we welcome you on this platform of Pavitra Prabhuji. Over to you.
Thank you, Mataji, for inviting me and giving a chance to speak on this topic. I'll just start the slideshow. Yeah, Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone to our today's discussion. So Mahabharata and Ramayana, they are the two scriptures which have inspired millions since time millennia. So in the Vedic scriptures, there are two words, Shrutis and Smritis. Shruti means that which is heard, and Smriti means that which is heard and applied in the lives by many, the great sages, and then the sages, they speak it according to their realization. That is called Smriti. Shrutis, they are basically classified as the Vedas, and the Smritis, they are classified into Itihasas and Puranas. So what is a Itihas? Generally in the English terminology, Itihas means history. But this Itihas is much more than just the history of some incidents, some events which happened in the past. Through the various incidences and the events which have happened in the past, there are so many lessons, there are so many principles which are taught. I think there's some problem with the voice, somebody is saying.
We can hear you because
okay.
I don't know, can everybody else hear only, or is it only one Prabhuji? So maybe he has a bad network at his place. So So it's everybody, for everybody else, it's fine. Please go.
Okay, okay. So I'll continue. Yeah. So therefore, this itihas is not just a narration of what happened in the past. It is narrated in such a way so that it conveys a lesson and it tells how we can transform our lives. And one of the histories, one of the itihas is Mahabharata. And what is Puran? Puran is a compendium of so many of the historical epochs, many dynasties. One of the example of Purana is Bhagavad Puran, Srimad Bhagavatam. So today we'll be discussing something from Mahabharata. So the word Mahabharata, it is itself says, uh, it conveys so many meanings. It means the story of the descendant of King Bharat. We all have heard about King Bharat, the great personality, upon whom this entire world knows the India as Bharata. So Bharat means the place, and actually it has much more meaning than it. So Bha means light, and Rata means absorbed. So that place which is absorbed in the light of spiritual knowledge, that is called Bharat. And what is Mahabharat? Mahabharat basically, tells about the incidences which happened in the dynasty of Bharata, and primarily it focuses on the war which happened in the Kurukshetra. And apart from that, there are many more reasons why this is called as Mahabharata, the history of greater India. So one of the reasons is, the sheer size of the book which was written by Vyasadev. It is a huge book. You know, uh, as you know, Srimad Bhagavatam is 18,000 verses, Ramayana is 24,000 verses, and Mahabharata is 110,000 verses. A huge compilation. That's why it is also called as, this book is called as Mahabharata. You know, in the Greco-Roman Empire, we have heard about Iliad and Odyssey, and they were known as very, very huge compilations. But if you combine Iliad and Odyssey together, Mahabharata is 7 to 8 times Iliad and Odyssey combined together. That's how huge it is. And in Mahabharata, there are 18 parvas. So this word 18 is very, very significant in Mahabharata. There are 18 parvas in Mahabharata. Parva means the divisions. Just like we have chapters, we have sections. So Mahabharata has 18 parvas. And the essence of Mahabharata is the instruction which is given by Vyasadeva in the form of Bhagavad Gita. Supreme Lord Krishna himself spoke this message. So Mahabharata is a very, very wonderful book which attracts everyone. It is full of adventure, love story, suspense, crimes, and so many things are there. One of the things which is very, very attractive about Mahabharata is the characters of Mahabharata. And we can learn so many things from the characters of Mahabharata. Actually, when a person from the outside who does not know anything about the history, he reads this book, he may get completely, many times confused, because there are so many things, so many stories, so many incidents which has happened, which are described in this book. They look so very confusing, and that's why we have to take shelter of the authorities. So this Mahabharata, the one of the great acharyas called Madhvacharya, he has written a book called Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnay. And what is Tatparya? Tatparya means the conclusions or the purports. Nirnay means the final conclusion of Mahabharata. Why something is written like that. And in that, this Madhvacharya, he describes that there are three levels of reading Mahabharata. One is the literal, you are reading the story as it is, and that is also very purifying. When you read the story of Mahabharata, just relishing the story of Mahabharata is itself purifying, as it is written in Mahabharata itself. एक एक अक्षरम पुंसाम महापातक नाशनम. एक akshara, every letter, every word of Mahabharata is so very potent that it can purify all the sins. Mahapataka Nashanam. It can protect one from the greatest of the dangers if somebody reads this in right consciousness. That is a literal way of reading Mahabharata. Apart from that, one more level of reading Mahabharata is ethical level. We understand the ethics behind various pastimes and various incidents which have happened in Mahabharata. We can draw a lesson from it. For example, in Mahabharata we know that Duryodhan, he was such an evil character. He was planning so many things just to kill Pandavas, just to defeat them. But because Krishna, the Supreme Lord, he was on the side of the Pandavas, ultimately Duryodhana was destroyed and Pandavas were victorious. So that's what we can draw from this Mahabharata. The ethical lesson is, if we live by the side of virtue, then we can for sure be assured that victory will be ours. And that's what Bhagavad Gita ends with. Sanjay is telling, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruvani Tirmatirmama. So Sanjay is giving the final conclusion in Bhagavad Gita. Wherever there is Krishna, the supreme mystic, wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will be for sure victory, morality, righteousness, and all opulence. That is the ethical lesson. And the third level of reading Mahabharata is the transcendental level. Vyasdev, he has very nicely written this Mahabharata so that one will come to the conclusion that Krishna is a supreme Lord, and ultimately we have to surrender to Krishna. We have to plan our life in such a way that we can come close to God. So these are the three levels of reading Mahabharata. So today we'll be discussing one of the very interesting character, which is who is generally most controversial and very much adored by many. So we'll be discussing about the famous character of Karna. People call him as a tragic hero, in the person who had so many good qualities, but still he was not treated properly. Many feel, Karna, he deserves to be the greatest hero of Mahabharata. So today in our discussion and the next time we'll be discussing the character of Mahabharata. What was his contribution in Mahabharata? So generally, I'm sure all of you must have some real friends in your life. What are the qualities we expect in a friend? Generally, we expect the qualities of loyalty. We expect that a friend in need is a friend indeed, right? If a friend is there for me in all my trying situations, he's my best friend. He is the real friend. If a friend is ready to make sacrifices, that touches the heart so much, the sacrifice, loyalty. If we can share our hearts with our friend and rest assured that the secret will remain secret. Otherwise, in today's age, if you tell somebody your heart and he is not your well-wisher, he can exploit that information. Of all the various qualities, this quality of sacrifice actually attracts the heart of many. We had one devotee in our ashram. He was in Indian Air Force, and he had a very close friend. So both of them, they had given test for fighter pilot, to be eligible for flying the fighter planes. And both of them were very highly talented. So they gave the test and the results came. And our devotee, he was chosen as the only candidate who was qualifying for flying the fighter planes. So the whole board, they called this person our devotee, and they told that you are selected for this fighter pilot training. So you'll be given all the training, and you can fly Indian Air Force plane, fighter plane. So this gentleman, our devotee, he said, "Thank you very much. I'm so very happy. But can you do one favor for me?" So they said, "Yes, please. Whatever you want, you tell us." So this person said, "I have a friend, and the second person who is there after me, he is my very dear friend. Can you please give this seat to him?" All the board members were completely shocked. They had never heard such type of request. They said, are you serious? Do you know what are you saying? Do you know the prestige attached to being a fighter pilot? So he said, "That's all right, but can you just give this seat to him? Because you are the second one after him." So the board of directors, they said, "Okay, whatever you say, if that is your wish, because he was the second person, we'll give that seat to him." And then he said, "Oh, thank you very much." He said, "I have one more request. Please don't tell him that I gave my seat." So they were completely surprised by the sacrifice of this person. And for sure, next day on the notice board, the name was put, and his friend, he was chosen as the person who would be trained for Indian fighter pilot training, flying fighter plane. He was euphoric. He was jumping. He was shouting. He did not even know that that was his friend who sacrificed his own seat. And to this day, he doesn't know that because of his friend, he got that seat. These stories straight reach straight at our heart, right? What about Karna? Karna was a personality. He was ready to sacrifice everything for his friend. What was the sacrifice Karna made? Just before the war was about to begin, Krishna, when he went as a Shanti Dut, he told Karna, he took Karna on his chariot and he told, "Karna, I want to tell you a secret. You are not Sutputra. You are son of Kunti. And if you just change the sides, you come to the side of Pandavas. Yudhishthir, he will be so very happy to give the position of the king to you. You will be the emperor." Kunti also came. She also said the same thing. Karna, he was such a loyal friend. He sacrificed the position of king and emperor for his friend Duryodhan. Would you call such a person who is ready to make all the sacrifices a hero or a zero? Of course, he's a hero, the person who can make all the sacrifices. Amazing personality. We know Karna to be Dan Veer Karna. Giving in charity is such a heart touching act. Generally, usually people they give in charity which something which they don't like and they don't want. Many times some people they give some donations to temple, something which they don't want. Okay, some old vehicle is there, give it to temple, they'll use it. What was the charity of Karna? Indra, he came disguised as a brahmana, and this Karna, he was a great worshipper of sun god also, very learned in scriptures, a great worshipper. And he had a vow: anybody who comes and asks for charity after my Surya Puja is over, I'll give him whatever he wants. Indra, he knew this. So he came right at that time and he asked for the charity of Kavach and Kundal. So Karna was born with a armor. He was born with effulgent, shining kundals, the earrings. Indra, he asked, "O Karna, If you want to give me some charity, please give me your kavach and kundal. For Karna to give the kavacha, the armor, it was not like some metal sheet he was wearing and he had to give that. No, that armor was a integral part of his body. The kundal was integral part of his body. He was born with them. To give kavacha and kundal in charity means he had to cut it, and it was a whole mess, bloody mess. Blood was coming, profuse blood, intense, excruciating pain. But because he had taken a vow of charity, he did not even think twice. Such unparalleled charity. Would you call such person a hero or a zero? Of course, Karna must be called as the greatest hero. And then Karna was not an ordinary personality. He was an Atirathi warrior. Oh, who is a Atirathi warrior? In Mahabharata, a detailed description is given. A Rathi means who can fight with 5,000 soldiers simultaneously. He is called a Rathi warrior. Ek Rathi warrior means one who can fight with 8 Rathis. And then Atirathi warrior means one who can fight with 12 Rathi warriors. That means Karna was able to fight with 60,000 soldiers simultaneously. Such a powerful warrior. You know, there were very few who were equal to Karna in valor, in archery, in the skills, in strength. So Karna had such wonderful qualities of sacrifice, loyal friend, a wonderful charitable personality, and a great powerful warrior. This is what we have heard about Karna, right? One more thing which is, always focused about Karna is Karna was a self-made man, you know. To such an extent, people say, Are Bhagwan Swayam Aaye, Krishna himself came and gave the proposal. You come on our side, come to the side of Pandavas and you'll be the emperor. Karna rejected that. He became whatever he was on his own. And that attracts many people because many people themselves are facing such scenario. These stories of self-made personality attracts the mind of many. Oh, a person, he came from village of gaon se aaya tha, nahi? And then he had nothing. He was just selling balloons. He was just doing little thing. He did not take help from anyone. He was staying in Dharavi, doing some small thing, and now, because of his hard work, he has become a billionaire. Such stories, they attract the mind of many. And that's what is described about Karna also. A self-made man who did not take any help. Even God came. Krishna was there, right there. But Karna, he did not take help from God also. So therefore, Karna is many times portrayed as a loyal friend, a Danveer Karna, most powerful warrior, a self-made man. Apart from that, he's portrayed as a person who was oppressed. Oh, bichara Soot Putra thane. He was a Soot Putra. That's why he was oppressed. That's why he was not given the privilege of taking part in the Draupadi Swayamvar. He was criticized there and ultimately he was killed in an unjust way. That is what is described about Karna many times. He was such a powerful warrior and his wheels were stuck in the ground. He was pleading, Krishna, please don't. He was pleading, Arjuna, please don't shoot arrows. But Krishna told Arjuna, you kill him. Such unfair, such unjust way of killing him. This is what is described about Karna, and it is really touching the heart. And therefore, this personality of Karna is very much adored, very much, talked about. So, just consider the scenario. If there is a accident between a bicycle rider and a car, Mercedes car, a person who is driving a Mercedes car and a person who is driving a bicycle, accident happens, and this bicycle driver, he was actually driving on the wrong side. There was no fault of the car wala, the Mercedes person. He was riding on the right side, and this bicycle person, he was driving on the wrong side. That's why he, met with an accident, and he's injured. He's in blood. Who will people sympathize with? Whom do we have sympathy for? Of course, अरे गलती बाइसिकल वाले की हो ही नहीं सकती, बिकॉज वो तो छोटा आदमी है. छोटा आदमी, हाउ कैन अ स्मॉल पर्सन मेक अ मिस्टेक? गलती हमेशा कार वाले की होती है, that is what is talked about. The mistake is always of a person who is driving a car. And then nobody thinks, okay, was he a right person? Was he a wrong person? No. Bicycle wala always gets all the sympathy, no matter whose mistake it was. Just because someone is low, can he not do something wrong? He will always be righteous. Such things are not so much spoken. We never think about what Pandavas suffered. We think only, oh, how much Karna suffered. You know, eh, how much Karna suffered? I was asking, I was just taking this class for some group, and I asked, what all, problems Karna went through? And people, they could come up only with two problems. Because of his low birth, he was not given a chance to study under Drona, and he was not allowed to take part in Draupadi's Swayamvar. That's all. Apart from that, anything which Karna had wrong in his life, nobody talks about what all Pandavas went through. Right from the birth, Pandavas were fatherless. Pandu Maharaj, he died because of the curse of a Brahmana, of a Brahmani. He was dead. Even before the Pandavas were born, fatherless children. And then somehow, Kunti Maharani, she had to take care of the five children. Such intense tapasya. And when they came back to Hastinapur, Dhritarashtra and the sons of Dhritarashtra, headed by Duryodhana, they were planning everything just to kill Pandavas and Bhima. Duryodhana fed poison to Bhima, mixed the poison in the food and fed him. But somehow Bhima, he was saved. And then that was not sufficient. Duryodhana and all the allies, Shakuni, Dushashan, they planned to burn all the Pandavas along with their mother in the fire. They prepared a whole huge palace of Laksha Graha, and their plan was to burn them alive. But by the intervention and by the very nice intelligence of Vidura, they were ultimately saved. Nobody talks about sufferings which Pandavas went through. And then they were in the forest, they had to face so many of the man eating demons. And then ultimately, when they got their kingdom back, Draupadi was about to be disrobed by Dushasana. Nobody talks about that. What all things Pandavas went through. They just see, oh, Karna was such a nice person, but he was oppressed. Actually, Karna, once he killed a cow, and because of that, he was cursed by the sage. But just see why Arjuna was cursed. Once Arjuna was in heaven fighting against the demons called Nivata Kavachas, and he defeated all of them. He fought very valiantly. With single arrow, he killed 60,000 demons. And then after that, he was, with his victory, he was sitting in the palace of Indra watching the dance of the Apsaras. He was again and again looking at one particular Apsara called Urvashi. Indra, he thought, I think Arjuna is interested in Urvashi. So he told Urvashi that you go and you enjoy with Arjuna. So Urvashi, she went and she told, look, Indra have sent me and we can enjoy. Arjuna, he actually said Mataji, we call in ISKCON all the ladies as respect Mataji. He actually told Urvashi, Mataji, I was not looking at you with that vision, because Urvashi was wife of one of the ancestors of Arjuna, Pururava. So Arjuna was thinking, oh, she's my great great grandmother, you know. And then Arjuna said, actually, I cannot enjoy with you. You are my worshipable great great grandmother. Urvashi, she said, all these rules are not, applicable in heaven. Arjuna said, nothing doing. I cannot do all this. Urvashi, she became so disgusted and angry, she cursed Arjuna. You will become a eunuch. Just see, Karna was cursed for doing something wrong. Why Arjuna was cursed? For following principle of loyalty, for principle of ethics. Nobody talks about it. So therefore, Arjuna and Pandavas, they suffered a lot. And that was not enough. In the war, Abhimanyu was such a powerful warrior, although he was just a 16 years old boy. He was unjustly killed by many of the Kaurava warriors. Such a sad demise of a great hero. That was not sufficient. After the entire war was over, all the Kaurava warriors were dead apart from few. Ashwatthama, he wanted to kill even the last descendant of Pandavas. Abhimanyu was killed, but his wife was pregnant, Uttara. And Ashwatthama, he shot a Brahmastra, most powerful weapon in the creation, just to kill a embryo in the womb. And actually, by the mercy of Krishna, Uttara, she came running to Krishna, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpate Nanyatvad Abhayam Pashye Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. Oh Krishna, please save me. Apart from you, I do not see anybody who can save my child. If you want, let I be killed, but my child should survive. Helplessly, she came running to Krishna. And Krishna, by his mystic power, he entered the womb of Uttara. He protected the child. All these things are not discussed. Why? Are bade log hai na? Raja bane. They became kings. But this Karna, oh, he was such a poor person, bichara Sut Putra. People don't think, people don't see if he's doing wrong or right. You know. So they don't see what is written in Mahabharata about Karna. They don't see what Vyasdev is writing there. They don't see what is there in Badrinath written, the Sthal Puran of Badrinath, what it is written there, what is talked about there in Karna, about Karna. Nobody tries to even understand these things. Nobody asks why he was not allowed to participate in Swayamvar, why Dronacharya did not give him the teaching of military arts. Nobody asks. And therefore people, they are eager to read so many books which are written about Karna. Sad part is, before reading any book, they don't even ask question who has written the book. For example, if a Panwala, he writes a book on pediatrics, the medicine for the children, the science, medical science dealing with the child health. If a panwala sitting at the corner of the street, our Shambhunath Panwala, so he writes a book on pediatrics. How many of the medical students will read it? Practically none, because book on the pediatrics will be taken seriously by a person who is himself practicing it, right? If Dawood Ibrahim writes a book on charity, on moral principles, on kindness, compassion, you know, will it be appreciated? So therefore, we have to understand a book is taken seriously if the person who is writing the book is himself having those characteristics. But in the material science, even if a person does not have a good character, we have seen many times, even doctors, they are smoking, they are drinking, you know, they know the wrong, bad effects of these things, but still they do. And when they teach, students are there ready to hear from them. Character does not matter when it comes to material science, but when it is spoken about spiritual knowledge, character matters the first. Nobody asks about, oh, who has written this book, what is the character of that person, is it worthwhile? If in the field of medicine nobody will write or read a book on pediatrics which is written by Panwala, how can you read any book written by any person, on any of the character of Mahabharata, Karna, Bhishma, anyone? Therefore, when if we want to know something about the characters of Mahabharata, we have to understand it from people who have good character, who are following the scriptures, who are everyday reading it, assimilating in their lives, and applying it. That is the right way of understanding something about a character of Mahabharata. Otherwise, many people, they are so much in love with this character Karna, just like a mother cannot see anything bad in her child. Kitna bhi, if we say nalayak, even if the child has all the bad qualities, but still mother will say, "Arey mera bachcha hai." How many good qualities he has? We hear in a story about Vena. He was such a sinful king, but when he was killed by the Brahmanas because of the wrong deeds he was doing, his mother Sunita, she could not bear that pain. She preserved the body of Vena for many, many days. So many people, because they have their emotional inclination towards this character Karna. Just like if somebody wears a blue glass, everything appears blue. If somebody wears a red glass, everything appears red. So therefore, there are people who have just fallen in love with this character Karna. They don't see anything wrong in this character. Even if something is written about Karna in Vyasdev's Mahabharata, they will say, oh, no, no, that is not the case. For example, in Mahabharata, it is written that Karna, he was the one who gave the idea of disrobing Draupadi. One of the writers, he writes in his book that actually Karna was not there. Such love, he cannot see anything wrong which can be done by this character Karna. So therefore, if we have to read the books which are written by persons who are fixed in spiritual knowledge, who have no inclinations, they should be presenting the science, the character of the various characters of Mahabharata as it is. So therefore, it is very, very important that we have to learn scriptures from a parampara. This parampara system is very, very important. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu. O Arjuna, I gave this knowledge to sun god in the beginning, and then it was coming down in the disciplic succession, but in due course of time it was lost. Therefore, I have come to revive it again. So, when it comes to spiritual knowledge, we should not read anything which is available in the market. We should not hear from anybody who is speaking. Whenever we are traveling many times by taxi, the taxi driver also says, Maharaj, hum bhi brahman hai, humne bhi Gita Bhagavad padhi hai. Technically, Brahman means he's not working under anybody. He just begs, and his main business is giving spiritual knowledge to others. So, therefore, the spiritual science is a very, very refined science, and not everybody is entitled to share this message. Only people who are themselves following it should give this knowledge. And that's how we'll be protected. That's how the confusions will be removed from the minds of many. Because reading Mahabharata may be bewildering many times. There are lots of ethical confusions, ethical dilemmas. We discussed there are three levels of understanding Mahabharata. The ethical level is a very, very important level because Mahabharata deals with ethical dilemmas. Why Bhishma did not say anything when Draupadi was getting disrobed? Ethical dilemma. It creates lots of confusions. People, they start, disbelieving the scriptures. Why we should, read all these scriptures if a personality like Bhishma is not protesting the disrobing of a great queen Draupadi? Therefore, we have to take shelter of the acharyas. In Gangotri, from where the Ganga comes out, the flow of Ganga is so huge, such massive flow that you cannot even stand there. There are chains which are put there. You have to catch hold of the chains, and then only you can just stand, or you will be swept away. But the same Ganga, when it comes down, reaches Haridwar and Rishikesh, then it becomes accessible. The knowledge which is given by Supreme Lord Krishna in the Shrutis, it is like a flow of Ganga at the Gomukha, a very strong force which many times we cannot bear. Therefore, we need a step down transformer, right? We need the acharyas, we need the teachers who are practicing it and giving it to us in a way we can digest. Srila Prabhupada gives example of a Britisher. One time there was a Britisher and he had heard lots about jackfruit. So he told his Indian servant that I want to eat jackfruit. So this Indian servant, he went and he climbed the tree and he, cut the jackfruit. And then those of you who know how to take the actual essence out of jackfruit, it is so very difficult. You have to put oil all over the hands and then you have to cut it very carefully because it is all sticky. So this servant, he knew the art, he did all the hard work, took the main fruit out of the jackfruit, put it on the plate, garnished it with honey and some dry fruits, and presented it to his British master. And this British general, when he saw, he became really disgusted. He said, "What is this?" So the servant became confused. He said, "Sir, you had asked for the jackfruit. This is the jackfruit." He said, "Arey, I have heard that jackfruit is a huge, big fruit, and you are giving me in a plate. No, no, I want the original one." So the servant said, "Sir, you will not be able to take the essence out of that fruit." He said, "No, nothing doing. I want the original one." So the servant is got fed up and then he said, "Okay." So he brought the whole jackfruit and gave it to the British officer. And this British officer, he was himself trying to take the essence out. And in due course, he was so frustrated. He said, "Oh, this is useless." The jackfruit, the Vedas, they are like the jackfruit. It is so very difficult to understand the Vedas without the intervention of the teachers. So therefore, the saintly personalities, they help us to distinguish between what is the fake thing and what is a fact. So therefore, our reference should be the scriptures. Our reference should be the great personalities who are following the scriptures. So Madhvacharya, as I was discussing, he has written Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnay, and he very nicely analyzes every character of Mahabharata. So that now we'll be seeing from the point of view of the great acharyas. Karna, actually, because he was born as a Sutputra, he was actually not born. We'll discuss about the history of Karna. He was always hungry for recognition. He wanted to be recognized because people would call him Sutputra, you know. So after the Kauravas and the Pandavas, they completed their education under Dronacharya. The final grand competition was going on. All the Kauravas and the Pandavas, they are exhibiting their skills. And everybody was, very happy and joyous because everybody liked Pandavas. Arjuna, he was showing such beautiful, powerful skills. As all these things were happening, a personality entered the arena. He was looking very powerful, very strong, well built. He challenged. He said, I can show all the skills which this Arjuna is doing. And actually, he demonstrated all the skills, you know, demonstrated by Arjuna. But he could not supersede Arjuna. Then he challenged Arjuna for a duel match, Dvandva Yuddha, one-to-one match. At that time, Kripacharya intervened. Kripacharya, he said, so far you are displaying some skills, everybody respected you, but now you are challenging Arjuna for a fight. According to the codes of war, only two equal people can fight. Please tell us about yourself. Karna, when he heard this, he became so embarrassed. He put his head down. Duryodhana, he was very expert diplomat, expert politician, you know. He knew I can defeat Bhima, I can handle Bhima. He was thinking, I want somebody who can handle Arjuna. When he saw the skills of Karna, he got his answer. He understood this is the person who can handle Arjuna. Immediately, Duryodhana got up and he started glorifying Karna. A person, can't you see this Karna? He has shown such valor, only a Kshatriya can do it. Of course, he is a Kshatriya. And if you think he's not a Kshatriya, he's not a king, today I will make him the king. So he makes Karna the king of Anga. Anga Desh is somewhere in the eastern India. And Karna, when he saw this, he became so very obliged to Duryodhana. Actually, Duryodhana was no one to give this kingdom to Karna because he was not the king. He was just a prince. But you know why nobody, protested? Because they were thinking, array, if, for example, if some beggar comes and to a very rich person's house, and one of the members of the family, he says, okay, I'll give him 1 lakh rupees. And then this, everybody is watching. It becomes a prestige issue for the family. If the one person is saying something and other person says, no, no, you cannot give, will not be able to survive, it is a prestige issue. So the same thing happened there. Duryodhana, although he was not the king, he was just a prince. But because he said something, all the other elders, they did not refuse, they did not protest. They said, okay, so be it, what difference it makes. Karna became so very indebted to Duryodhana. Although Duryodhana was not making friendship with Karna in a genuine way, Karna was an expert diplomat. He knew how to make allies. And therefore, when he started now associating with Duryodhan, initially Karna had very noble qualities. But because of the association of evil Duryodhana, Dushashana, Shakuni, and all the other Kauravas, he also became contaminated. And therefore, when the time of this gambling match came, and Yudhishthir Maharaj, he gambled Draupadi. And that is another huge discussion about the gambling match. He gambled Draupadi. Karna was the one who gave suggestion to Dushashana. Oh, now she has become a maid servant, and whether the maid servant is dressed or naked does not matter. So he was the one who gave the idea of disrobing Draupadi. That's how association destroys the character. We have heard so many things about association. You are what you associate with, you become what you associate with. It is said by one author. He says, a rusty nail kept besides a compass can sink even a argosy. Argosy is a huge ship. A little amount of bad association can destroy even a very wonderful personality. Karna is a live example of that. He had good qualities. Of course, he wanted recognition for himself, but because he was staying with Duryodhana, he was associating with Duryodhana, he also developed ill motivations, and which made him speak such harsh words. Actually, Karna, he lamented when Krishna, he told Karna that please come on the side of the Pandavas. Actually, Karna said, I actually regret speaking those words about Draupadi. Karna was the one who called Draupadi a prostitute. Oh, she's a prostitute. She has 5 husbands. That is the result of bad association. Who was Karna and how he took birth? We'll discuss something about the birth of Karna. So, Kunti Maharani, when she was a small girl, just 10, 12 years old girl, a small girl, she was very expert in serving the guests. One day, a great sage called Durvasa Muni came, and everybody was fearful of Durvasa for obvious reasons. He was famous to give curses if you disrespect him. If he becomes angry, for sure you will be cursed. Everybody knew Kunti, she was such expert in guest reception. So they, told Kunti Maharani that you please take care of Durvasa Muni. Kunti Maharani, she served Durvasa such in so nice way, such a nice way. He became so very happy. And Durvasa, because he is the avatar of Lord Shiva is called Ashutosh, right? Ashutosh means one who gets pleased very easily. Durvasa became pleased very easily. He became so very happy with the reception of Kunti. He gave a benediction to a small girl, Kunti. He said, I am pleased with your service. I give you a benediction that you can call any Devata and beget a child from him. And then Durvasa Muni left. Who was Kunti? She was a small child, small girl. So generally, what is the nature of small children? Whenever they get something new, they want to try it. So out of her childish innocence, she thought maybe I should, just check the potency of this mantra. Durvasa Muni gave her a mantra. So she was looking here and there, she saw sun god, Surya. She chanted the mantra, and for sure, Surya Dev appeared in front of her. She became so very astonished, shocked, surprised. She offered her prostrated obeisances in front of sun god and she said, "Oh Suryadev, I am so very grateful that you came and gave your darshan, and I'm very happy just to have your darshan. Now please go back." You know. So Suryadev, he said, you know, it does not work like that. You have called a great devata, and the visit of a devata should never go in vain. Kunti, she said, "But I am a small girl. I am still unmarried. I am still a virgin girl. If you give me a child, how I will face the society?" Surya Dev, he was a very, very powerful personality. So he told Kunti, "You don't worry about it. I will give a child to you and you will maintain your virginity." So immediately, sun god impregnated Kunti, small girl, you know, and then immediately, and then Surya Dev disappeared. Immediately, a child was born from the ears of Kunti, and that's why he was called as Karna. Kunti, now she did not know what to do. She was so very afraid of all the social customs, and because we cannot even imagine what was the mental state of Kunti Maharani. Even in today's age, the chastity of women is so very adored. You know, every woman wants to be such a chaste wife, maintain all the virtues. In earlier those days, the women, they would not show their face to any outsider. So if anybody, they would come to know, "Oh, Kunti has begotten a child," she, would be completely disgraced. So out of her childish innocence, whatever her intelligence, allowed, she did it. She placed the small child in a basket and floated the child down in Ganga. And that's how Karna, he came in a small basket, and there was a person called Adhiratha. He was a Suta, means the chariot driver. He found this child and raised the child. That's how Karna was, born. What was the fault of Kunti? There was no fault of Kunti, small child. So therefore, people say, "Oh, Kunti was so hard-hearted; she should not have done that." But just understand the scenario of Kunti Maharani, the circumstance where she was in. Another thing which was spoken about Karna is Karna. He was such a righteous, such a powerful personality, a great warrior. When he approached Dronacharya and asked, "Please teach me military science," Drona, he rejected him. Why? Because he said, "You are not a Kshatriya. I have taken a vow that I'll teach only a Kshatriya." Such a great injustice, Just because a person is born in a low family, should he be refused for education? So we have to understand, in Vedic times, we'll see something about the classes. The Varnashram system is a very, very well refined science. It is not about making discriminations, it is about mentalities of a personality. In every state of affairs, for example, take a classroom. You will find some children who are totally into studies. They will study whole day. They are not concerned about playing and whatever is happening in the class. Absorbed in studies. Very scholar people, students. Some students, they are very eager for management. There is some event, You give them, they'll manage the whole thing, and they are happy. They are in their spirits when they are doing it. Some students who are, you know, money minded, they'll get something from the market and they'll tell their friends, oh look, I have got this from the market mein itne ka, I'll give you a little less. Just interested in money. Some children, they are very simple people, they are happy assisting others. These four types of people are everywhere. This is not a discrimination, this is a psychophysical nature. And Vedic scriptures, they give a term for it: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. It is not a discrimination. So being a Kshatriya and being a Shudra or Vaishya was not a discrimination. They were also respected very much. They had such respect in the society. But because, some of the Brahmanas, they started abusing the lower, this Kshatriyas, this Vaishyas and the Shudras. That's why the downfall of Varnashram started. So it is not that, oh, Dronacharya, he was interested in teaching only a Kshatriya. He was a very, very learned Brahmana. He was the one who gave knowledge to Drishtadyumna. Who was Drishtadyumna? Drishtadyumna was born to kill Dronacharya. But Dronacharya was such a noble minded, broad minded personality, he did not even refuse giving knowledge to Drishtadyumna. Then why Dronacharya refused teaching to Karna? Because Dronacharya, he could understand that this personality is, of course, a Kshatriya. Just by looking at Karna, he could understand, oh, he is not an ordinary Shudra or Vaishya. He is a very, very powerful Kshatriya. Then why he did not teach Karna? That is a great mystery which has troubled the minds of many. And that we'll discuss next time. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Mate, you are on mute.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. This was an enlightening session for all of us. So beautifully, you put everything, in perspective, starting from whatever Karna actually, whatever injustice actually happened with him, but simultaneously comparing Pandava's life also. And so this was very, very, very beautifully and eloquently done for our understanding. So if anybody has any questions, you all can put it up on the chat. We can take it up. Yes, so at the moment, nobody's asking any questions, but okay, Nisha, I think, has a question. So just a minute. Please unmute yourself. You can, yes.
So, Prabhuji, pranam at your revered feet.
Hare Krishna.
You fleetingly mentioned that Bhishma did not raise any objection when Draupadi was disrobed.
Correct.
Would you want to elucidate that why is it? I mean, it is a dilemma.
Yeah. So it is another huge topic. So I didn't want to touch on it because, maybe sometime in the future we can take a separate discussion on that. Just to tell in brief, see, although Bhishma was a great personality, but because, he was there with the Kauravas for a long time, and he had taken a vow that he will always be on the side of, Kauravas. And therefore, when Bhishma, he saw that Draupadi, she was getting disrobed, and actually Draupadi, she told Bhishma, she asked Bhishma that how can a person who has already gambled himself, because Yudhishthir Maharaj had already gambled himself. How can he gamble somebody else after he has gambled himself? Bhishma, he went into a dharma sankat. That's what I was discussing. The many ethical dilemmas are discussed there. So Bhishma, although he was such a great personality, the knower of religion, but because of association with all these personalities, he also got distracted for some time. He went into a illusion, dharma sankat. He said, you know, it is very difficult to understand who is right, because he said a wife is always under the shelter of husband. So even though Yudhishthir has gambled himself, still he can gamble you. So basically, there is a principle called niyama agraha. Niyama agraha means you just get caught up in the nitty-gritties of particular rule but do not understand the real uh, instruction of it. According to scriptures, women should always be protected, she should always be respected, she should never be disgraced. That is the general instruction of the scriptures. But Bhishma, he just got caught up in this niyama agra. He was just thinking the lower principles. He was not thinking about the higher principle that whatever may be the scenario, a woman's chastity and respect should always be maintained. So that is what is taught, that is what is described in Mahabharata. And to understand these, we have to take shelter of the great acharyas. That's what Madhvacharya writes in the Tatparya Nirnay also. And of course, later uh, we know that Bhishma, he spoke a huge you know knowledge, huge body of knowledge to Yudhishthir Maharaj in Bhishma Parva, which is another you know very nice composition. There he talks about Stri Dharma, Varnashram Dharma, Raj Dharma, so many things. But at this point of time, it is said that because Bhishma, he was constantly there with Duryodhan and all the allies, his intelligence also got polluted for some time. So again, it is shown to tell us the power of association. A personality like Bhishma can also get deviated for some point of time, for some time. This is not to demean the very high position of Bhishma, because Bhishma is a great devotee of the Lord. But whoever one may be, if he is in bad association, for sure he'll get contaminated. So that is the lesson we can learn from this pastime, which this incident which happened in Mahabharata. Okay, so I hope this answers your question.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to ask? I think probably everybody is feeling very satisfied and enlivened by your session. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, and we'll look forward to tomorrow's session again.
Next Wednesday. Right?
Sorry, next Wednesday. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining in and giving me opportunity to speak something from Mahabharata. Hare Krishna. We'll meet next Wednesday. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Hari Bol.
Thank you. Hari Bol. Happy Lohri to all of you.